Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back again to our usual section on our periodical interviews here on Thumim NG. How have you been? I still remain your host, Dr. STM, and I'm happy to have you here today once more. Now, about just less than a week ago, we had a session here where we talked on a different thing, and today we'll be having a wonderful independent instructor who has been with us, making waves, sharing information, and quite experienced and good at what he does. Today, we'll be talking about the journey from data to information. In fact, for me, I think we'll spend time first getting to know about what exactly data is before we even get to start thinking about what goes from data and before we now have information, because to some of us, data is equal to information. But apparently, we have the expert today who is going to tell us if there is any difference, and if there is, what is the difference, and how are we going from here to there. Today, we are going to have that. And it's my pleasure once again to welcome you to this show. I still remain your host, Dr. Ifnai Stella Maris. I am commonly called Dr. STM. And this is brought to you by Thumim NG. Tumim NG is an online education platform owned by Intelligent Healthcare Solutions, where you can either be an independent instructor, or you can come and learn, or you can be both. We have a wide array of courses going from research, digital skills, parenting skills, clinical skills, and you can literally teach anything that is quite valuable. The platform has more than 15,000 healthcare professionals, ranging from doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and we are all here to serve you. Today, we'll be having this discussion with Ola Adoroja. And before we get really up here in the talks about exact reason for the interview today, I'd love to introduce this person to you. The man you're seeing on the screen there is Ola Adoroja, an expert in what he does. He's a systems analyst with over 30 years experience in system analysis. And he has special interest and skill in data science. So when we say we are bringing in the person with the knowledge, 30 years is not 30 days. And he's good in data management, he's good in database management systems, and also good with software engineering, which we'll be all talking about today. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he has a diploma in data processing from IDPM London. And he also has a Master of Business Administration from also Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. He has, of course, gone for several trainings on data management, and has also facilitated various workshops on data management and information technology. So this is actually where he fits, this is where he breathes, this is where he sleeps, and literally his life is within data. So he's currently a chief system analyst with College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. And he's married to Omolola Aduroja, a fine artist and fitness expert, and they are blessed with two children, Anjola Olua and Olamipo. Ladies and gentlemen, behold on the screen Ola Aduroja. Hey! Welcome, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for having
How
me.
have you been?
Well, I've been good. I've been good. All
I'm sure
glory to
you're
God.
all, oh, great.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're all
yeah.
expectant. What are we going to be discussing today? How is this going to flow like?
Mm,
So, how are you
uh,
feeling joining in today on this session?
well, it's exciting. It's exciting, really. It's exciting.
Oh, great.
I want to believe that we will all learn together in the course of this interview. Uh,
Awesome.
what we're going to be talking about is not something new to many of us. And like you said, a lot of people talk about data, talk about information, and probably mix it up. And I probably will get some bit of clarity from this interview this evening. And I want to assure everybody that we'll have an exciting moment with on this interview. Uh, I think I can shoot on.
Okay, all right. That's amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from our guest today. He is ready for you, he is ready for us. Shoot him with your questions as long as it concerns data and information, and trust him to be able to deliver. Once again, you're welcome to the show, and thank you for honoring our invitation to be here. So,
Yeah.
without having much time to delay, let's just start with the first question I said I'll ask because of the audience. What
All right.
exactly is data?
Okay. Let me start from this. There's one advert. I won't mention the brand that talks about data is life. Okay. And indeed, if you look at data, data is life. Because when we talk of data, every moment, every time we breathe, we are using data. Now, the data the brand was talking about has to do with the use of internet. But the data I'm talking about has to do with you being able to get information to make decisions. Because basically, when we talk of information, information is gotten from somewhere. Information does not just happen. Okay, and you start from what we call data. And one of the questions I first asked even myself was why data? Okay, why do we even have to talk about data? Now, one thing that will get to understand is the fact that data are sort of helps us to improve quality of life. Okay, it helps us to improve quality of life. Data is collected uh, first on any outbreak. For instance, the occurrence when COVID started in 2019, before anybody can do anything, they need to get information. I mean, they need to get data. You can see I'm using information now. They need to get data on that particular outbreak. And one of the reasons why we are where we are today is because the data was not readily made available the moment it happened. Okay, they were trying to shield, to cover, and at the end of the day, everything blew up, and everybody now start running here and there to get data so that they will be able to uh, uh, get a treatment or get a solution to the problem. So data improves quality of life at any point in time. Like for instance, at the moment you wake up in a day, you started using data. Before you decide to leave your house in the morning, you've used data because you have gathered some data together before making a decision that, okay, I'm going to step out today. Okay, so it involves almost everything about life. Now, coming to talking about data and information, whether data is information or now, the simple definition we give data is that data is just figures or facts, individual figures or facts. Mark the word individual. Okay. Now, what makes data different from information is the fact that information now makes use of combination of those individual data to produce something that we can make decisions on. That's why we say when you process data, you get information. Okay? If you don't process data, you cannot get information. Data will remain data. And at times, we also say that data is a raw material for information. Okay?
Okay.
Data is a raw material for information. That means if you are going to get any information out, you need to have the data.
Oh,
And that's
great.
where the quality of information uh, comes forth, because you need to have quality data to process a quality data to get a quality information. With some of the things we're going to be likely talking about. In computing, we talk about garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means when you have a rubbish data, you get a rubbish information. Basically, your computer is processing data. All right. Whenever you get on your system, it's because you want to push in some data to get information out. Each time you press a key on your keyboard, you are giving the computer a data. to work on, and it produces out. Like we talk of word processing. How do you get word processing? You give data, you give the alphabet to the computer, and it makes it together as a word. All right. If I type my name now, I'll type OLE. Those are individual figures, individual facts. All right. By the time I put OLA together, I get Ola, which is an information to me now. The same
Okay.
thing I do Rogers. So that is the kind of mindset you should have towards data. So data is part of our lives. And the reason why we are not talking of the journey from data to information is because you have to go through certain processes before you get that information out. You don't just
Okay.
collect data for collecting data's sake.
All right.
Okay?
Now, before we even get into that journey of going from data to information, there's a
Right.
word you used frequently while explaining what is data, and that word is quality. You talked of quality data, quality information, rubbish
Yes.
data, garbage in, garbage out. So,
Yes.
what makes a data
Exactly.
qualified? What is
All
actually
right.
the characteristics of a good quality
Now,
data?
okay. Now, one thing, when we talk of a quality data, that data must be accurate. So we talk of accuracy. We talk of completeness of the data. Okay. We talk of reliability. Who is giving you that data? For instance, if you're asking questions about maybe a pregnancy, and you are asking from somebody, probably a teenager, who has never been pregnant before,
Okay.
uh, it's the kind of info data that is going to give you may not be as reliable as somebody who has been pregnant before, who has passed through that process. All right. So data has to be reliable, it has to be complete, it has to be relevant.
Okay.
Okay. Those are what makes quality data. Then the data has to be timely. So when you put all this together, accuracy, completeness, reliability, relevance, and timeliness, then you have a quality data. That is what will take on
So,
the process. Yes, please.
okay, what I wanted to bring in while you're asking is, I feel some of those things are quite subjective. Okay, let me give an example.
All
Now,
right.
if I say something is relevant, it may be relevant to this particular need of information, but not relevant to another. Now, with my
Yes.
understanding of what you're talking about, data, height is data, weight, like I
Yes.
take my measurement of height and
Yes.
weight, and
Yes.
probably to a project I want to raise something like what body mass index, which definitely needs
Exactly.
weight and height. But
Yes.
for another case, it doesn't need weight and height. So
It
will
doesn't.
that
No, no.
make that particular data totally irrelevant?
You know, the essence of you wanting to gather data is because you have something in front that you want to achieve. You want an information, you want to get an information out, just like the example you gave now. If your target is to get the body mass index as an information out, then for you to have a quality data to produce that body mass index, that data has to be relevant to what you want to get. Okay, it has to be. Now, it doesn't now mean that in another space, probably in another client, that data is not, but is not of quality. But the moment you have a target, you have a goal in mind, anything you are going to use, all the raw materials you are going to use, have to be of quality, right? Just like the example you gave now. Sorry, I can't hear you.
All right. So, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen, sorry about the muted mic. So far,
All
we've
right.
been talking about what data is. And while we are talking about what exactly data is, our guest mentioned something quite important. So, I had to drill him around that, which is a quality data, a good quality data. And he mentioned things like accurate. It should be accurate, like accuracy, and something on relevance, and then the timing. the
Yes.
completeness. These are all qualities you should consider in qualifying data. Now, we had to bring up this thing of what is data and what is information so that we can understand the real reason for today's session. Now, another important thing he has raised is that data is like single piece, like they are all individual, standing individually. But when you now combine and merge them, it makes the information. So that's where the essence of our discussion today comes in. What goes on before combining all those individual pieces to make a wholesome information that you can dwell on. So, sir, the room is up to you now. What is that journey that one has to go from here to there, point A to point B?
Okay. Uh, there is there are some certain things. If you are embarking on any journey, you prepare for that journey. All right. You prepare what you will need for that journey. So when we're talking of the journey from data to information, we are also talking about preparing your data first, then getting the tools on how you are going to get to that information. Okay, and those are the things we are going to be talking about. Like for instance, the way you process, or the way you let me use the word process your data to get information also matters on the type of data. So one of the first things you need to do is to identify the data. I've had examples of somebody. Let me give this funny example. Somebody trying to calculate the mean of sex. Okay, mean of religion. All
How?
right. Now, that is because that person lacks the understanding of what he can do to get information out, the correct information from the data he's having. The person is having definitely he has collected data about the sex, about the religion of the respondent, so to speak. But what do you do with that data to be able to get information out? If you apply a wrong technique, you get a meaningless information. For instance, if you are saying you are calculating, you are getting the mean of sex. Now, by the time you tell me the mean sex of the respondent is this, I would look at you like, are you okay? All right.
Okay, can we assume
Now,
that
but
the your audience does not even know what mean is?
mean is okay.
Yeah.
Well, mean is always called is the same thing as the average. I believe everybody
Okay.
can relate to average. All right.
Average.
So
Okay.
finding the average of sex, finding the average of religion. Okay. Not that the data collected for the sex cannot bring out any information, but the application of the statistical technique is wrong. For instance, if I want to like summarize, okay, if I want to talk about the sex or in my probably in my study, I can just
Okay.
do probably a frequency table to tell the whoever is reading, okay, what's the percentage, what's the proportion of male, what's the proportion of female in the study. That makes
So
more sense. Okay,
apparently, what the frequency table does is it presents the proportion for
summarize,
whoever
yes.
is reading. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
So you have to understand that. Now, I'm going to talk about the different types identifying the data. Generally speaking, data is classified into two. We have
Okay.
qualitative data, we have quantitative data. Okay,
All right.
generally,
Okay.
qualitative data and quantitative data.
All
Now,
right.
that is further broken down. When we talk of qualitative data, we talk of qualitative data is the same as categorical data. In other words, data that can be categorized. For instance, when we talk of religion, okay, religion can be classified as Christianity, Islam, maybe and others. Okay.
Okay.
Now, for that kind of classification, we still have a further separation when we talk of a nominal data and an ordinal data. So you need to understand all this before you say you want to move from data to information. The other one, the quantitative, also has its own legs. Where we talk of we talk of discrete data, and we talk of continuous data. Okay. Now,
Okay.
when we have that, it depends on it. That now determines what kind of tool you can apply to get those information out. Like the example I gave earlier on the gender, which is a categorical variable. If I have, maybe I've collected the data on the mean of babies that were given birth to in April. All right. Now, and information, those are data that are collected on the individual babies. But if I want to get an information now, I may want to know, okay, how many male child, how many female were given birth to in April. That means I'll need the data for their sex. Now, if I also want to know, okay, what is like the average age? What is the average weight of babies born in April? Then I need to apply another technique, another tool, statistical tool, to get that information now. So those are the things we employ when we are moving from data to information.
All right. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, we've been having this discussion here on data, the journey from data to information with Ola Aduroja, who is a 30-year old experience old. Like, he is not 30 years, he's experience old, 30 years. So count it to in systems
Well,
analysis, in data and database management. So he is talking with so much experience and expertise in delivering what he's delivering today. And you could see that the expertise is so much that at some point he's using so many of the industry jargons that we have to drag him back. Sir, what does means? What is frequency table? For you to understand that. So that is actually the extent of knowledge that is stored in. And just in case you're wondering, this is, of course, to Mim NG, where we host online courses, online educational sessions. And of course, Ola Aduroja has his own array of courses all around data and data management. So you would see the course on data analysis with Stata, with SPSS, with R, and all these are all on his portfolio. You can find them there with us on Tumim NG. And in case you're wondering, how can I reach Tumim NG? I'm sure you would be seeing those things ticking down the screen. Please subscribe and turn on notifications for future content. And then you see some lines coming up. Next thing you will see about our contact. So you can actually reach direct to our website there, www.thumimng.com, or you can even contact us directly and we can reach out to you. You can subscribe for his courses and come and amass knowledge. Like, as far as data is concerned, certainly that will be delivered, but you have to open up yourself to catch the knowledge. Now, we've been talking about what is data, what is information, how is this process going from here to there. And one important thing that he has highlighted is you have to know the kind of data you're collecting for you to know how you're processing it. So apparently, data management starts from data collection, because that's where you have to start thinking about, what am I getting, what am I collecting, and from there you can now move on to now say, oh, fine, we are collecting this, and this is the technique that we are using for that. He has mentioned the types of data, he has mentioned qualitative data, quantitative data. He has also mentioned about discrete data. I think I heard something like continuous data. And of
continuous,
course,
yes.
for each of these, there are just different techniques to be applied. So, of course, there is no way you expect to have the full fleshed out information from this mini interview, because this is just the beginning.
Exactly.
Session, because this is where you sit and have the full details of what you have to know. Now, sir, you've just finished talking about being mindful of your collection technique and knowing how you're processing it. Now, okay, now we are mindful of our collection technique, the kind of data we have. We've looked through and we've seen that, okay, we have quantitative data, and this kind of data is more of discrete and a bit of categorical data and something like that. So what next should someone who is processing a data do to be able to grab information from that data? Because that's the main reason for this whole story.
Well, maybe talking about uh, getting those information out. Uh, you look at the flow, what we call information cycle. All right, the information cycle starts from you getting that data, and after getting the data, one of the things you need to probably do is to now, since you are going to be making use of the computer for the processing, for the analysis, you need to get that data into the computer system. All right, and that involves you making some preparations of your data for the computer system. The computer will not just take whatever you are bringing in from your questionnaire or from your data sheet. You need to get the computer ready. And that is where making use of statistical packages or making use of maybe Excel to enter your data into the computer comes in. And I don't know whether I can share my screen to see what it looks like, as in a sample. Let me see if I can share my screen, I believe.
Maybe you
Let
can
me,
attempt to do it from your end.
okay, I'll try it. Or let me just continue, just so that we don't waste time. All
Okay,
right.
that's okay.
In the information cycle, you have collection of data. You have data manipulation part. That is where you make the data ready for the computer to be able to analyze, to be able to get those information that you need out, that will take you to that level that you really want. Now, after getting the data into the system, you need to clean it. Despite the fact that, okay, you've collected quality, so-called quality data, but by the time you get into the computer system, you need to make sure that the data were correctly inputted into the computer system. Because if a wrong data is wrongly entered into the computer system, definitely by the time you are processing or analyzing, you will still get a wrong result, a wrong output. So you need to make sure that the data is clean before you now launching into getting those information. And there are different different techniques, different statistical methods or routines that you apply to this data to get those information out. So the next stage is for you to get the data into the system, clean it. Then you can now talk of, okay, how do I go on? How do I now embark on this journey to get those information out? What are the things I need to do? Okay.
Okay. So you actually mentioned something about statistical packages, the
Yes.
softwares that you use in fleshing out the information you want from the data. Now, I'm just wondering, what are those packages that one can use? And are there ones here you advise this against this, or, what are the packages that one can use
Yeah.
to process data?
There are a lot of statistical packages around, but there are some popular ones.
Okay.
And the popular ones like the SPSS, like Stata, like
Okay.
R, like SAS, like EpiInfo, and some other ones like that. But one thing with data analysis is the fact that they all work based on the same principle. Now, it doesn't matter, we can look at it like an application problem. For
Okay.
instance, I want to move from point A to point B.
Okay.
How do I get from point A to point B? Now, if it is transportation problem, I can use a bicycle to get from point A to point B. I can
Sure.
use a motorcycle to get from point A to point B. I can use a beetle, okay, to get from point A to. I can use a Camry, okay, Camry 2022 to get from point A to point B. I can use a G-Wagon, all right? Now, In all this, all of them will take you to point B. But how will they take you to point B? Are you going to be comfortable? Are you going to be comfortable riding an Okada or a bike from point A to point B, or riding a G-Wagon? If they put the two together, we'll be able to do that. That is how statistical packages too are. There are some that are easy to follow. They will still get you there. There are some that, like the the learning curve is a bit steep, but they are still good. They are very good. For instance, when we talk of SPSS, Stata, and R, I always prefer R, though R is a programming language on its own. Like I made it known in the course, is a programming language. But as a programming language, you can use R for so many other things. You can use it to design websites. You can use it to design a web app. You can use it for data mining and the rest. But if your focus is for statistical analysis, then you can just focus on that part, and that brings that steepness a bit down for her. For SPSS is a point and click software. You just go look at your menu, look for what you want, pick it, and apply it, which is what most people prefer. Everybody wants easy way out. Nobody wants to rush his brain on anything.
Yeah.
But if you want to get the best from your analysis, you use packages like Stata and R, because with them, you are able to easily reproduce your work at any time. Because, like for instance, in Stata, there is a file we call a do file, where you put all the steps, all the commands, and all the instructions you are using to analyze, to put them in a single file. So at any point in time, if I want to reproduce, I'll just go to that file and tell Stata to run it. The same with R. We have what we call an R script that you write, where you put all the instructions, all the comments, you put them together in a place. So you can run it at once. If you come back in 10 years' time to run the same program, you can easily run it. But that is not possible when you're using SPSS. For SPSS, you need to now still remember, okay, which menu did I click? Which command did I select? For instance, when we talk of recoding, which may be a bit high for some of us, when we talk of recoding, in which case you are changing the code, you want to change the code to something probably a smaller category now. All right? How you recode it, when you use SPSS, you need to remember it. But if you had used Stata or R, the code is already there. So it's a matter of just picking it and running it. So it depends on you. If you feel comfortable with SPSS will get your work done. There are some people that are like, I don't want to learn R, I don't want Stata. I'm working with SPSS. That is the one I want. As long as we get the result. So it doesn't really matter. I won't want to say I'm recommending one. It's the one you are comfortable with that will get you there, that you take. Though in some instances, there are some analysis you can carry out in some that you can carry out in another. There's what we call strengths and weaknesses of all this software. So you need to weigh them. And one beauty about research, about analysis, is the fact that there's no rule that says once you start with SPSS, you must finish with SPSS. There's no rule that says when you start with R, you must finish. You can bring another one in as long as you know it will get the problem solved.
Oh, great, great. So we've been talking about statistical packages, and he said there are many, but mention but a few. And when we were mentioning, in fact, I think I have two main questions before we actually call this a day. And one of those questions is still around the statistical package. Now, the main thing is there are still some mainstream, contemporary, popular, let me say, tools amongst people who are interested in data. And you keep hearing things like Python, Tableau, Power BI, of course, Excel. So are those ones not also useful in analyzing data?
No, now there's what we call application packages. Okay? Application packages. Now, in computing, we have what we call the big six. Now, The application packages are based on application problems. We have accounting application problem, okay, which you need an accounting application package to solve. You need you have database problem. You need a database application software to solve it. Those are application problems. You have a spreadsheet problem, okay, for which most people knows about Excel. But apart from Excel, there are other application softwares that you can use to solve spreadsheets. There is what we call Lotus 1, 2, 3. I don't know whether it's still in view. So you have those problems for which specific application packages have been designed. We have graphic application problem, okay, for which you now, when you talk of graphics, you talk of Photoshop, talk of CorelDRAW. Those are packages designed to solve them. Then we have statistical application problems, okay, for which we have statistical packages that were designed to solve that problem. For instance, some people say Excel can be used to analyze, but Excel is not a statistical package. It's a spreadsheet package. It can just undo some analysis. There are some analysis that you can't use Excel to solve. You can't even think of it, all right? But the basic statistical analysis, you can say probably employ Excel to solve it. Python, because Python is a programming language like R, you can manipulate it, okay? I can write a program using Python to calculate the average, to calculate t-test, to calculate whatever I want to compute in the analysis. Because it's a programming language, like when you are speaking English, I can use English to formulate any sentence I want, okay? The same way, when you have a programming language, you can use them. Even all these SPSS data that we are talking about, they were written using a particular programming language.
Okay.
But they were now made as a package. Okay?
All right.
Yeah.
So apparently, what works depends on what the person is doing and what the person knows at a given time.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
now let's talk about the place of data in career progression, because some people are like, okay, how will this help my career? Where will I need to talk about data analysis? Or if I decide to come and learn about data, where will I be applying it? So I'm asking you, sir, now, how is data important to someone with a regular life?
Someone with a regular life.
Yeah.
You can't, if it's not in the line of your ambition, then you may not need to dabble into it. Now, the whole essence of data, well, you have to have that interest first, like, okay, I want to go into data analysis, I want to go into data science. Okay? The whole essence of data is getting information available by all means. And you'll agree with me that in this age that we are, it's information that is ruling. Okay? And whatever quality of information that is dropped out there, people act on it. There are some information that have been given and people have acted on it, and it has resulted in chaos. All right? But if you are trying to channel your life towards probably being an expert in data science, if you go online now, most of the things you see is data science here, artificial intelligence. All this artificial intelligence that we're talking about, it's all about data. Okay, you will notice that if you have been going to some buying stuff online, let's say Konga, if you have been buying stuff on Konga, anytime you open the Konga page, if you look at the lower part, even Jumia or even any online store, you see a list of those things that you have one time or the other, you have probably either looked at or you have ordered for it. They will be listed. That is because as you are using the platform, they are collecting data about you, what you like, the places you visit. They use it, and those are where data science comes in. All right, those are applications of data science where people make use of all those data, small data that you feel you don't know. Like for instance, some people are skeptical about activating their position, the location on their phones. The reason for that is the data are being collected and they are being used. Ask me how Google Map that we all use, how it works. How do they know that there's traffic in Idiape, there's traffic on Lagos Express? How do they know? It's because of
True.
data. Because some people are experts at mining data. Okay, so when those data are collected, it brings it up as information to us to know that okay, I should not go to Lagos this early. The whole the whole road is red, and when it is red, you know that it's a no-go area.
Yeah.
So those are areas of application that you can think of. All right.
Great. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody just yesterday. His son performs very well in JAM and performs very well in WAEC. And he said he asked his son, okay, what do you want to study? And the guy said robotic engineering. And the dad said, I don't know anything about that, so you are not going to study. I have to be
Ah,
lecturing the dad that is where life is going now. It's because of you collect data here, data there, and those data are put together to bring out something that will better our life.
great,
Okay?
great. So it's
Yeah.
about applying, like, in fact, you just cemented everything you've been talking about today. Collect the data, collect it, and make information out of it. I think even if someone did, you don't grab anything from what was discussed today, you certainly understand the Google Maps picture where they are picking the data of so many of us are currently stuck on this road at this time. That means we are supposed to be moving, and if we are not moving, something is
That
happening.
means something
That
is
thing that is
happening.
happening is traffic. Now that is how
Exactly.
they've taken our data to make information out of it. To me, I think
Exactly.
that's the most fascinating
Yeah.
analogy that he just dropped here to cement everything we've been talking about today. And if you're
Yeah.
just joining in or just watching this particular episode, the person on your screen talking to you as a guest, not me, the host this time, is Ola Aduroja, who is a data system analyst expert. So he has been there and he's giving you the stuff of what is happening. And if I were you, I'll sit myself down and listen because this is really stuff things coming up and dropping there free of charge. And of course, Ola Duroja has so many courses with Tumim NG where he has different, he taught on how to use different packages to make information come out live from data. So I'm even trying to make it in a layman's language for you because if I tell you he has a course on data analysis, you may not understand it. He is going to teach you how Google is using your presence in what bridge now to tell you that there is traffic there. So that is something like what he's doing, how you can make information out of data. Certainly, he will tell you how to collect data, how to process it, and eventually make our information out of it. And of course, those courses are hosted on Tumim NG. Now, you may be wondering, what exactly is Tumim NG? Fine. Tumim NG is an online educational platform where you can teach, where you can learn, mostly for healthcare professionals. And we have the base of more than 15,000 healthcare professionals. Now, when we are saying healthcare professionals, we are talking doctors, nurses, pharmacists, med lab scientists, physiotherapists, and more. Now, if you think you have value to add into the life of this group of people, then Tumim NG is for you. And most times when we talk about having value, people think, what can I teach doctor when I'm not a medical professional or something? Well, to start with, Ola Aduroja has proved you wrong because you don't have to be a healthcare professional to teach healthcare professionals. So many things can be taught. It's not just about things that are around clinical sphere. Just like Oladuro Roja is teaching on digital skills, you can actually teach on things. And we have courses on parenting skills, research. You can also teach on business. We have courses on legal needs for healthcare professionals. So you can also carve a niche for yourself and express the knowledge you have. Let people draw from the wells of your knowledge, and you can see the beauty that comes with it. Once again, I am the host, Dr. Ifnai Salamari Sayan, commonly called Dr. STM. And the man with us today, I would be glad to quickly give you a quick brief of his bio again before we call this a day. This is Ola Aduroja, who is a systems analyst with over 30 years experience in system analysis. He has special interest and skill in data science. He also has interest in data management, database management systems, and software engineering. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics from Obafemi Awolowo University Ileife, and diploma in business administration from Obafemi on data management, and also has facilitated in various workshops on data management and information technology. So everything about him is data, data, data. And he's presently a chief system analyst with College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. He's married to Omolola Aduroja, a fine artist and fitness expert, and they are blessed with two children, Angela Oluwa and Olamipo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our guest today who has, of course, been talking on data here and there. And while I was talking about him, a comment dropped him, which I love. He said, he's the best I know in this data science field. He simplifies everything data and deliver them in the best way without loss of quality. Thanks, Ben Kuba, for that beautiful comment. And now it's not like we are just hyping without value. You can see this is coming from someone else, also acknowledging what our guest, the value, the quality our guest is bringing to you on this particular expert and field. You too should consider coming to camp with him. Like I said earlier, he has multiple courses on data management. So you can learn about using different statistical packages to process a data from what it is as a data to information. He has really he thought about data, SPSS, and you can all get all of these things on Tumim NG. In case you're wondering how you can contact us on Tumim NG, please see the information taken down there at this screen where you can see our contact, our websites, our email, and you can reach us via any of them and be sure to get to you. Ola Aduroja, would you want to give us just a final remark before we call it a day?
Well, let me just say this. Uh, it is nothing out of the blues for anybody to lay his hand on to work on data and to get information. Like I said at the beginning, each day you wake up, you use data. When you sit down, you have done some calculations before sitting down when you get to your sitting room. So it's things, there are things that we live by, there are things that are around us. You only need to develop that interest. And for your information, you can make money when you understand all the stuff we are talking about. You can make money analyzing data for people. You can make money getting data for people. So it's nothing to shy away from or to see as, oh, statistics. I don't like statistics. Now you are not the one doing the calculation. It is the computer that will do it for you. Just get the data, get the understanding of what to use, and you are good to go. Okay? So data is life.
Great. Data is live. Once again, because he actually, I'm laughing because he literally started the whole interview session with data is live, and now closing it again with data is live. Now it's up to you to choose live or choose otherwise. I'm not going to call the otherwise, but it's all up to you to choose what you have to choose. Thank you, sir, for this session. Thank you,
It's my
our
pleasure.
audience, for
My
joining
pleasure.
in. Thanks for your comments too. And really, it's been a wonderful session here on Tumim NG. We look forward to having you in our next time. Bye
No
and
problem.
do have a great day.
Thank you very much.